Trustee Drew,
Here.
Trustee St. Germain,
Here.
Trustee Erbst,
Here.
Trustee Pomponio.
Okay, if we could all stand for the flag salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if I could have a motion to approve the agenda, please.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any public input for tonight? Yes, I think there was one. Now that I say that out loud. Okay. Yep. So what we'll do is have you, Brenda, come on up to the chair, turn on the microphone, and then we will give you your 3 minutes of.
That's
public
about
input.
all I need. So I'm just really here short and quick.
Sure.
Basically, I'm Brenda Drobish. I'm the coordinator for the Safe Routes to School program that's granted to the city. The city received a grant for that. So I'm just basically introducing you because I would like to establish a good working relationship with the school because it's a program for K through 6. So, and we've already kind of been working with them. So I really want to give a shout out to Denise and Jason up in Timberline because they've been allowing us to come in and to really talk to kids about bike safety and that kind of thing. I've gone to Cavendish and I want to thank Janine for giving us some support up there because it's really for our kids and making sure that they're safe and they've got good bike skills and understand the importance of bike safety. I've gone to Peck and they had a good time. We had a good time out there. We gave helmets at Cavendish. We gave helmets at Peck. I have been working with Mark Mosier and he's been super to work with. I've been going into the the PE classes for about 10-15 minutes and talking about bike safety with kids and absolutely love it. And we have a good time. So I do have one more session tomorrow to do that. And then we have hit all the schools. I wasn't able to go to the Timberline one, but Chris was able to do that. So really appreciate that. But we just want to continue to see if we can have a good, strong working relationship with the school because we really want to advocate. I want to be an advocate for the kids' safe routes to schools, for those who are biking, for walking, for skateboarding, for scooters or anything like that, who are coming that aren't riding the bus, parents aren't dropping them off and kind of just like that. So I also want to talk about, so safe routes to schools is also, if you see anything like this, the kids were given by stickers like this, they're called Biking the Clearwater. I'll show you a bigger picture. It's called Biking the Clearwater. And we really hope to develop more biking opportunities in the community. So hopefully you will see that. If you see the stickers, now you know who it is and get more information. And we also have a Facebook page and a Gmail account. So if you need to get a hold of me, definitely give me a shout out. I am working with the city, I am a city employee. So anyway, short and sweet, that's all I am. So I hope we can continue to have a good working relationship. So yeah, you got any questions for me? No? Okay.
Sounds
see?
good.
Yeah, there's my 3 minutes.
Awesome.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you for coming and thank you for the outreach to the students. That's
Yes.
great.
Is that the part of the Blue Cross grant? No, separate ones.
The Safe Routes to Schools grant program is federal fuels tax dollars that are dedicated for non-infrastructure transportation alternative program grant funds. And they are a 3-year award. So this is the 2nd year of that award and we'll be applying for the next 3-year cycle in January.
Thank you.
So it's your tax dollars at work.
Cool.
Okay, next on the agenda is the consent agenda.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Reports and recognitions. It looks like we can move down to building reports. Did we, looks like we had Submissions from all the building administrators. Did we have any questions or comments?
I just thought the participation from the parent teacher conferences was awesome. Percentages were very high. I thought that was good. On the elementary side.
I was going to say it was a little bit down for the high school. It sounded
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Do you think that's, Brian, is that because like we were talking previously about parents being able to check Skyward regularly so they pretty much know where their kid is?
Yeah, I think that's what I heard from a lot of parents.
Yeah.
I think I commented that on my board report,
Yeah.
that, a lot of the parents there. So it's a positive thing because teachers are communicating and parents are communicating, but in the same regard, we would like to still get more parents out, because I think it's important that face-to-face contact with your teachers. And so we have some different strategies I think we're going to maybe try to entice more people to come in. We've thought about I was talking to a principal from this southern part of the state, and they said one of the best things they did is they had like if you come, you get a ticket for a raffle and maybe get some items donated or purchased that they're entered into a raffle. Just doing some things to hopefully get more people in, because that is important time to have those conversations with those teachers. It was neat to see because we had a different format where we had the kids build artifacts for their one thing that they're proud of, because I think sometimes it's intimidating for a student to come in to a conference and just, oh man, what are my teachers going to say about me kind of thing. But if they have something to show off, and this is something I'm proud of for each class, because that's really what it's about is, looking at the positive. And then if there's some strategies that the parents or guardians can help with at home, helping kind of understand what those strategies are, helping bridge that gap of communication if there is a gap there. But we'd like to get more. I did want to give a big recognition to our girls volleyball. I included that also in the board report. Not only did they win districts and go to state, which was outstanding, but to me, the character and integrity they showed, because they won the IHSAA Sportsmanship Award for the state 2A. And to me, that says a lot. Super high academic performing team, as well as just outstanding character. And that also spoke to our blue crew. So our students who come and support our volleyball players, they were awesome this year. And that's a big shout out to also Kathleen Tetweiler, our athletic director, because it really empowered a few kids to help lead that charge. And so rather than the kids just doing whatever, there was a little bit of structure and guidance there, but they took that and turned it into something super positive and super supportive of their student athletes and each other. And it was neat to see. We had multiple comments from referees after the game, just how polite the crew was, the cheers. If there was a cheer that was a little off base, they were reminded and they didn't continue to try and push it. They just moved on to the next one. So it was really cool to see. But that's a neat award for us. I think that sportsmanship's an important thing. And with that character and integrity, we'll build also success and wins. So.
Awesome.
Any other questions or comments? Next is program reports.
Russell, I had a question on the E-rate. Are those going to be competitive requests for proposals for Peck and Cavendish? That's what I thought. Just wondered. I think there's only one provider, so.
Thank you, Brian. Okay. All right. And then I don't see, okay. The question I had about just kind of preparing for moving forward is where we would be at for bus bids for next year. I know it seems like we just got a bus, but it took us a few months to get everything outfitted. And is Derek on?
I didn't see any mention of that. In the
No,
report either.
and I'm just thinking ahead so that we get that added to our calendar for next year.
Mhm.
I think it's in February, but I just wanted to clarify that. Or actually, Dr. Garrett might know.
I actually, I have to look. I might have ended up receiving a paragraph or two for him. So let me see if I can find that real quick. I may just not got it attached. I know that we're trying to get all that spec'd and in, and I think he's got those things ready to go
Okay.
because we needed to do it early. And from what I understand from Derek, he was saying that everything was out. Everything was pushed out and delayed like everything else trying to get those in. So as far as receiving, so we're trying to time it a little bit earlier so we can receive them before school starts next year. So hang tight and let me see if I can find that real quick.
Yeah,
Okay,
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, this is Derek. The bus bids went out. The last board report last month, we had sent them out. Bid opening is December 2nd. And so we hope to have those ready for you to approve at the next board meeting. We are jumping about 2 months early because they did say that things are delayed this year. So next board meeting in December, we should have approval for those bids for you.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for jumping ahead on that so we can get everything ready by the next school year.
Yep, you're welcome.
If there's no other questions for program reports, we'll move on to the superintendent report. Hi, Dr. Garrett. How is Boise?
It's Boise. So you guys can see through my report there, not a huge amount. I guess the big thing that I just found out today is we do have a permit in hand for Timberline schools.
Oh, good.
So for Timberline build. So I talked to our architect today. He's going to put that out starting tomorrow. We'll run that for 2 weeks. We hope to have bids and all that ready to go by our December meeting. So that's where we're at with that. He's going to make some contacts and get that out there. So that's been a long process, but glad to get it where it is. So that's the big news for today.
Cool.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay. All right, then we'll move on to discussion items. The first one is the board meeting calendar. Just trying to keep that rolling from month to month so we can look ahead to see what needs to be done. And the board can be on task.
So one of the things there, Charity, is our wording for our upcoming levy in March.
Mhm.
And that is actually one of our discussion items down here as well, but that is on there. So we have word that we need to get that obviously to our county by the end of the year. So we will get that wording and all that submitted to them once we get that approved in December, so we can get that on the ballot. But we can have that discussion on down the line.
Mhm.
So do you want to?
So the other thing to add to the December meeting will be the bus bid for the action item.
Correct. And then the Timberline build as well.
Oh, Timberline, perfect. Okay. So we can keep talking about the levy.
Yeah. So the levy, what we're looking at doing currently is to keep it the same. Let me get back to my agenda here. Sorry. Keep the total amount the same. The 2.685 is what we've had in the past. I think that's ran for the last 11 or 12 years from what I understand. So we're looking at that same, but with assessed valuations, that type of thing, increased around our area. It actually means a fairly significant less percentage because we're not running a percentage levy. We're running a flat rate levy. So looking at the wording on that and keeping that the same, we're just going to change the years, that type of stuff. So for right now, that's where we're at. And we'll have that discussion again in December.
So the question is the wording that we're talking about. The structure of the resolution is fairly straightforward, but it's the wording of the question.
Yes.
Is that what we're?
So the wording basically is going to be the amount
is what we're looking at, and the dates. So the wording is pretty standard on all of that. That's what's been on our levy in the past. So yes, that is correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Yes. Yep.
So is the levy for a different amount?
No, it is for the same dollar
You
figure.
do the
as what it's
same
been.
every time, right? Across
Yes.
the board, okay.
Yes.
So just a different date for, and so forth.
Yes. So typically, if you would look at the percentage, and I don't have those right offhand, but the percentage of what we would, the tax would be assessed on our constituents would
Oh,
be,
I see.
whatever that percentage is to get to that 2.685.
Right.
But with assessed valuations going up, that will be spread out a little bit more, if that kind of makes sense. It's not going to be as much on per capita. So I'll have all those numbers and everything ready to go for you the next time. But I guess the point is we're not wanting to increase that. We're just wanting to sustain that is what we're asking.
Right.
I'm gonna say periodically, I think it's probably been at least 4 or 6 years since we've increased the levy amount. I think probably 6 years. But depending on the budget and how things are going with the budget, luckily we've been able to keep it the same without any increase for many years now. But the budget has also increased significantly over the past 10 years. I mean, we had been like a $9 million budget and we're up to $16 million budget now. So there's been a lot of changes over the years.
Yeah, the levy actually accounts for a lot less percentage of our total budget than what it used to. We're still not fully supported by the state like what they say we are supposed to be. So that's why we have to run supplemental levies. And most schools do. The majority of schools do. And there's a lot of talk in legislators about how they can help with that, fund us further, or try to take over some of those levies, that type of thing. We don't know where that's going to end. So bottom line is we still have to be able to operate.
And most of this amount goes towards teacher salaries. And that's an important distinction to know, because although we have gotten federal grant monies over the past couple of years due to COVID relief, those monies are earmarked for specific things and not towards salary.
Right.
So if we have the public impression that, well, we have all this new money, why are we doing a levy? It's real important to realize those are one-time grants that are not going to be sustained. And they're going towards earmarked curriculum or buildings, those kind of things, and not towards the salaries that we have to supplement every year. And so it's important to realize that the levy has to continue going forward to maintain those salaries.
So looking at, go right ahead, Chris.
I think the way that we craft the marketing message around this is going to be really important.
Absolutely.
We've certainly had an influx of new people, and I believe the majority of those new people don't have children, and so they're not, unless they are educated people or people that believe in education, we're going to have a hard sell with them, and we have to be really clear and straightforward. I think in a real simple message, the way that we deliver the message around.
So just a few of the talking points. A few of the talking points that we have is, and I know Charity said they go towards teacher salaries. So most of this money is integrated, interweaved in a lot of different areas. But let me give you a couple of examples of what the state does for us. So somewhere with our certified staff, which is our teachers, we're always shorted by the state somewhere between $200,000 to $500,000 a year annually of what we expend on our certified personnel. With our classified personnel, which is completely funded from the state, we spend about $2.2 million on our classified staff on salaries annually, and we receive about $500,000. So you can see we're way short on that, and it takes a lot of support services that has not kept up on the side from the state of what the certified has. So when you do that, plus there's a lot of other things with operations and facilities, those type of things that are always an issue that we have to integrate those dollars into. A big portion of that healthcare insurance has been another thing that continues to rise. We spend over $2 million a year on employee health insurance, and the state, we get very, very little dollars for that. So there's a bunch of things, but personnel, yes, that is a big piece of that, but there's other pieces too. So it's kind of integrated throughout us. If you want to pull all the pieces together, there's a lot of moving parts there, but those are the big chunks. So. anyway, just wanted to kind of share that with you so we had a little bit more insight.
So is there going to be a committee that works on this, or are we working on this from the standpoint of a working meeting?
Yeah, so that, yeah. As far as the board goes, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
So typically what we've done is as we go through the budgeting process, we know where we're short.
Right.
So, and then we kind of take it from there, but absolutely. I mean, we can get together and put our heads together. The more the merrier on that one to try to help figure this out.
Yeah, I think getting creative on, the marketing message, the marketing visuals, the
Right.
simple, clear, and getting it out there consistently.
Yeah, 2 years ago when we ran it out, and I'm working on the same thing, is just created like a flyer that goes out and says, basically what your taxes will be going towards the school based on your assessed valuation. So, and kind of what that goes for and what it integrates into, and just some very plain, simple message, so. And that's really what's important. I mean, we appreciate the support everybody gives us, but I agree. There's a lot of new constituents that are in our communities that don't necessarily have connections with the school, so it could possibly be a challenge. But we have a lot of people that support us as well, so we're gonna send the right message.
Remind me, Dr. Garrett, what the vote has to be. Is this a 51% or a 60?
Yes.
Okay.
50. Yes. Yep.
Is it
Simple
the
majority.
bond that was the 66%?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Do you, off the top of your head, know how many more years we have of that bond?
3, I believe. I believe there's 3 after this year, I think.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And we can actually, if we so desire, if we have the need, the law says you can run a bond within 2 years of the completion of the existing. So, another year after, 2 more years. So if we had 2 remaining, we could run another bond, and you can actually combine that with a new bond. So, but we want to get through this one first.
Yeah.
I guess another important part of the message is that as property values have gone up and as more people have moved in and built, the overall tax per person has gone down. So that is an important piece of information, especially for people who have already been living here for a while.
Yeah, so it's based on the assessed valuation, the 100,000 assessed valuation, and yes, that is correct. To get to that total number, it gets scattered a little bit further.
What was the bond used for?
Mostly buildings and operation. It just went towards building. Is there anything left on that, Dr. Garrett, or have we used it all?
No, that was $1 million bond that was
Yep.
up front, and then we're paying back the 100,000 a year plus interest for 10 years.
Most of that went towards roofing, the boiler system downstairs,
Just some big
Yeah.
updates that needed to
like
happen.
huge, like $250,000, $300,000 per item that we
Right.
did about 6 years ago. We did roofs on all the big buildings and the windows. That's right.
What kind of interest did we pay on that?
Brittany has that payment, but I think it's like we pay almost 120,000 a year on it. So 20, it's a big percentage.
Okay.
I'd have to pull that up, but it's something you and I wouldn't do for sure.
So is that considered a municipal bond, Mike?
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes.
So that isn't necessarily supported by the local people because they sell that, right?
They can, yeah, but this was a local bond.
Okay.
It had to be passed, but yes, this one is with schools, you can float those like that. So right now, I believe it's just through, I want to say a bank, but it's probably not
Right.
exactly a bank, but it's just being held.
Broker dealer.
Yeah, yes. And it's been through them this entire time. It hasn't changed as far as I know.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussion regarding the levy? Okay. The ISBA convention, which is later this week, correct?
Yep.
Right.
Yes, I just put that on there because I know we have two of our current board members. I believe Greg and Christine are coming down tomorrow evening, I believe, and it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then we have a trustee-elect, I believe Brian Craig is coming down tomorrow as well to attend. So we will have that on the December meeting to report out basically anything that you guys can dish out there. So
Okay.
just going through the agenda before this started, or the actual listings, there's some really good stuff for new members, or some good stuff for some seasoned members, and for superintendents and leadership. So I think there'll be some good things there.
We used to do kind of a little bit of a write-up based on the classes that we took, because there's a lot of different classes that you can choose from.
Right.
And so sometimes we would divide that up. And then, the highlights of what you learned, and kind of send it by email to the rest of the group. That can be
Okay.
done as long as you don't respond.
Okay.
These are just ideas in order to help everybody
Sure.
kind of
Yep.
be on the same page. And then if there was really profound things that you've learned, kind of mention that at the next board meeting.
Okay.
So we'll expect a report next in December.
The treatise.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to action items. First one is the ISBA Summer 2021 policy updates.
So I sent with you guys, or sent to you guys, let me see if I can pull it up here. Where's it at? There it is. Can you guys see this with the highlight on it? Did it pop up there?
Mhm.
So as a policy committee, we went through each one of these, group from our, of employees from our school, comprised of several different people. We went through each one of these and made recommendations based on, and what's highlighted is what we recommended as a policy committee. And then what was in the bold, I guess, is what's recommended by ISBA, so it's like this one says an optional update to a required policy. So there's some changes in them. Each one of those we went through one by one and came up with our recommendations that would either match, or this one, for example, we wanted to eliminate the number 4 in there. There's a lot of them were just wording things, but they fit our district really well. And I think that, I would recommend that we approve according to what we have on the changes from our committee. We were pretty thorough with it when we went through it. I felt pretty comfortable with what we did. It's good input.
Who was the committee?
So I have a committee of about 14 people, but I generally get about 4 to 5 show up whenever we do that because of obligations. Mr. Hunter was there, principal at Timberline. We had Lindsay McKinney was on there. Mike Tetweiler was on there. So we had teachers. I think that was it for this one. I think we only had 4 that came through that. So from teacher perspective and administrator and myself, of course. So we just walk through them and have discussions, and we usually do them via Zoom, which works pretty good because we can pull it up on the screen and have the conversation and pull up our existing policy and then compare it to the proposed and make the recommendations from there. Do you guys have any questions on any of them?
Well, on that 2340, the only question I had is, it says that it was an update to an optional. These were recommendations by ISBA, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so it looked to me like they made a lot of the changes to it.
Correct.
Okay, so it says in their explanation that it's an update to an optional policy.
Yes.
And so I just took it that the district has adopted this policy already and we're just changing it. Is that right?
Correct. Just changing the wording in it. Yes.
Okay.
So if we are just yes. So if we did not have the policy, if we have not adopted the policy, we would say on here, we would say our district does not have that policy.
I got you. Okay.
Yes, you are.
These
very
aren't
clear.
just recommendations from ISBA. We actually have these on the books.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So one of those too was about service animals. Do we have people that have service animals?
No, we do not.
Okay.
Did you read the portion that we recommended not to have in there?
Yes, I did. But I
The, the service horse?
yes, it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
there are some concerns there.
Yes.
Okay.
Service. Yeah.
Um,
There's service horses. Yes.
And the other question is, do we ever allow outside organizations to use our facilities to show movies, videos, etc.?
Outside organizations.
Yeah.
I would think so if they use like a facility use.
So the district, because I guess the district has to have a public performance site license. I assume we have that then.
Oh, you mean for
Someone to show
For-
movies on our property.
commercial use is what you're
Yes.
asking. No,
Right.
we do not allow that for money
Okay.
making commercial use. No.
Good
No,
for
sorry.
you, Mike. You're hitting on all cylinders tonight. I just had these questions.
It's easier whenever I'm at a distance.
Yeah, that's right. Let me see.
So Greg, an example on that one is the ski club
Yeah.
often shows the factions film.
Yeah.
And we have used the school cafeteria in the past.
Do you charge
So,
money?
No.
Oh, okay.
But those are, yeah, correct.
But
So-
technically, I think you have to have a license for you to do that.
Well, we have permission from the producer to show that film and
Oh.
have it be a venue.
So
Right.
you don't
We
need a
just choose to
licensing.
not
Yeah.
charge a fee. We do it
Yeah.
out of awareness
Mhm.
of the ski club.
Well, good.
Last year or year before last, we showed it at the actual sale and swap event,
Mhm.
and that worked better.
If you'll see, a lot of these policies come up from things that have probably happened in the past. You know, I'm assuming somebody wanted to use a building and then they started charging to do some of the, show movies or whatever it is. And then the school ends up being liable, or the district can be, because of the building use. So our building use agreement's pretty clear on how we use them. And, we let anybody use them for any reason, but money making on some things is not, we have to make sure we know that's what they're doing. But, some of the
Gotcha.
Yeah.
craft shows, those type of things. So
So when I noticed there's a policy in there for contracts with entities that boycott the state of Israel. I mean, I couldn't believe it. These are all, and the first one, 2340, these are all cutting edge policies that I hope we all read, because it's
those
very
are
interesting.
those were passed down from the legislators. So
Gotcha.
yeah, those are wordings that came right out of it. Yep.
I saw that. And the only other question I had was regarding hiring retired teachers
Mhm.
and people to drive the buses. It
Right.
says we will or will not provide health insurance. Are we going to provide health insurance for those?
We
people?
will not.
Will not.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
And that would go in line with what we learned in the spring in Lewiston from the ISBA
Right,
conference.
right.
Around bringing retired people back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be done a certain way to be able to.
It does. And they've loosened that up a little bit where we can, with all the hardships we've had lately, they're working on making that even easier. So,
It didn't
it's
look
not-
too tough.
yeah, but it's not typical to pay benefits of any kind on a retired employee.
Well, it messes with their Percy.
Yeah. So we don't even withhold the Percy wages. That's pretty typical.
I think they have to actually get their retirement before they can go to work for us. And there's no agreement that we'll do it.
Right. Right. You can't promise them as soon as they retire, they're going to come back to work.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's all my questions.
So when it comes to our motion, I'd have a recommendation of doing this one of two ways. One is we do have a document that was submitted to us, a PDF that says reviewed and recommendations by JSD 171 Policy Committee 10/27/21. And that lists what the policy committee recommended for each one. Otherwise, we'd have to go through each policy and make the, either approve or not approve, or when they like eliminate number 4 or remove the will provide life insurance, things like that.
So we'd move to accept the updates according to the policy committee.
Yeah.
Recommendations based 10/27/21.
Yeah, it's on the screen if you need it there.
It's up there.
Okay, I'll make a motion to recommend that we accept policy updates for 2021 based on the committee's recommendations and updates done 10/27/21.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the policy updates for 2020-21 based on the committee recommendations dated 10/27/21. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next is our trustee election results. We did receive certification.
Yeah, I just received those today, the actual signed copy. So I just attached those. So you can take a look at those, but they're all signed. There's no difference in the results that we discussed earlier. So you guys can take a look at those. And with that, for your guys' sake, unfortunately, it has all the city elections as
Oh,
well.
I see that.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's
So it's
several
on
things.
page 5.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I can pull it down there. Right here.
My phone keeps.
Sorry, they're sideways.
Mhm.
So Madam Chair, we just need a motion to accept.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'll
Very
move that we
good.
accept the 2021 trustee election results as certified.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2021 trustee election results as certified. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is substitute recruitment governor's grant.
Can you
Yeah, so-
explain this, Michael? Because
Yeah.
I just see a spreadsheet, not a.
Yes, absolutely. Let me pull it up here so we can see. So last, we got this in two parts. So the governor had the substitute recruitment and classified staff enticement, I guess you'd say, or appreciation. So we ended up with two sections of this. The first section was 17,481, and the second section was the same amount. So we have to expend this by December 15th of this year. So short notice on what we have to do. So looking at what we had done before is we went together as our leadership team on the prior one. We really assessed what our largest priority was, biggest need. Came down to transportation, trying to figure out how we could fund training or licensing. Paying some subs to come in, getting people licensed, getting people involved, giving a little bit of a stipend to our employees as well, our current drivers for appreciation. So that's where the first half went. Some of that did not get expended as far as for training and those type of things because we didn't have as many people as we thought would we pay licensing on. So we ended up with a couple $1,000s extra from that. So when we went through the needs on this second piece, we were looking at where is our next highest need. It's pretty hard to disaggregate and separate where our next highest need is. So what we did is we came up with a proposal. This is from our leadership committee. So looking at our staff numbers, you can see in this column, paraprofessionals, custodians, secretaries, kitchen staff, substitutes, and we were looking at what we would spend we would give to them to take home each. And with the total, you can see what that actual total would be with the total cost, this is with benefits. So that 17,481 was the governor's, what they gave us. The benefit costs, about 3,400 out of it. Allowable, what we were able to dissect out of that was about 14,000 to give out in people's hands to take home. And then we looked at trying to equalize it to make it worthwhile. We talked about, giving $100 to everybody is what it would have came up. And to me, I mean, that's a great appreciation, but if we're going to make something worthwhile, let's make it worthwhile. So we have some of this ESSER 2 money that we cleared with the state that we could pull in some of that money to cover a little bit more and put everybody kind of on, all of our classified people basically on equal playing field. And that's really kind of where we came with that number. So the 325, I believe we gave a little bit more than that to our transportation the first time around, just because it's what we wanted to use it on. But this is a pretty fair shake, I think, for getting in the hands of people. So the number you'd look at here this is what would be take home pay, this column.
Right.
Would actually be take home pay. So you take all the other out of it. That's what so total cost for us as a district would be 31,844. The governor grant money was 17,481. We'd have to come up with another 12 or about 15,500, sorry, from our other side of the ESSER 2. And we have the ESSER 2 money to spend on things like that. So I think it's a really good investment for us and a really good appreciation, a good gesture for our classified people who are working tirelessly, just like our teachers are. They're filling in everywhere and just doing all different types of jobs. So that's what we came up with. We can certainly discuss that, or if you have questions.
No.
So
Not me.
the purpose of this is to address some of the morale issues that we had last year as a result of the teacher, sort of the input and the negotiations. Is that?
No, this is more of an appreciation and a stipend, because this could only be used for classified staff. And the governor put this in because there was a shortage of substitutes, which is considered classified, whether you're in transportation, whether you're in the kitchen, whether you're custodian, secretary, parapro, any of those. And then when we look at our district, those people right there are filling in just every day in a classroom even. So we're looking at people that are going above and beyond constantly. So anyway, that's where we came up with that.
So it's a one-time incentive to
Yes.
boost morale, and half of it comes from the governor.
Correct.
And the
Yep.
other half, comes.
Is part of the federal ESSER 2 money. Yes. The problem with all of this, like I know, is it's difficult when they give it to you November 15th and say spend it by December 15th. It's a pretty difficult task, and put limitations on it. You can only go with classified personnel. There's only so much of that you can do. And then to make it worthy and worthwhile is the other portion of it.
Sure. So the root of my question is what doesn't happen with the ESSER 2 fund to the tune of $15,500? What won't we do?
So that's a good question. Currently our ESSER 2 money, and I have it right here in front of me. We have ESSER 2. We ended up total of the ESSER 2 money, $831,000 is what we ended up with from the feds. It has to be expended by 9/30 of 23. They added another $29.50 just this last go around. That's this last bill that went through with the feds. So we ended up with $834,206. We've expended $120,439 of that, and that's gone towards the AC units in all the building, AC and heat units. So that money is earmarked in particular for some COVID-related expenses. And we checked with the state in particular on this one because we wanted to make sure we could use this money for personnel. And they said for classified personnel, you definitely can, because that's considered, you're subbing, you're doing all those things due to some of the COVID issues that we had from the past. So we have $713,000 remaining in that. What we plan to do with that is to continue putting the AC heat units in our buildings. replacing some doors. We're also going to rework the bathrooms. Most of our bathrooms are ready for an upgrade, whether it is just the hands-free fixtures or just the entire everything in them. So that's the stuff we're going to use it for. The 15,000, you're asking what we're not going to do with it. I think we have sufficient funding to go ahead and do all of these projects. So I hope that helped a little bit on the explanation.
I think it's a good way to spend money myself.
No better investment than in our people.
Yeah, I agree. And this is and I like the idea that you broke this down to the take home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it just works out really nicely.
Well, there's a lot of people that, and like I said, these are the people that get shorted from the state funding more than
Right.
anything.
Right.
It's a really big discussion with the legislators this year and with our superintendent groups, and the State Board of Education is trying to fund our classified staff to where they need to be. You know, the funding is ridiculous what we get from the state. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's beans.
So probably because of that, Mike, we're not able to do this very often then, right?
Correct.
Because
You
of the
know,
funding.
We talk about wages, and I hear the people say, McDonald's is paying $15, and we have plenty of people that are working less than, $15 an hour. And they're doing tremendous jobs, and they're just as important as anybody else in our district. Without them, we can't function. So I want to do what we can to support them anywhere we can.
I like it.
So, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we, agenda here.
Oh, sorry, let me pull it back
That
up.
we approve the substitute recruitment governor's grant and supplement with SR $2 to recognize and incentivize reward our classified employees.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the substitute recruitment governor's grant, part 2. Any further discussion? I was just going to comment that it's been nice having these grants, because last year and this year both we have been able to give kind of bonuses, so to speak, to our staff. It's been really nice to be able to do that, and it's a historical first for the district. I think.
Don't
So,
use that word bonus.
no bonus. No.
You have to say stipend.
Stipend.
Yes.
Sorry. Stipend.
Yes.
Yeah.
They frown on that word bonus for sure.
No bonus. Strike the record from bonus. Stipend. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the trustees rezoning state required project.
Yeah, so we don't have our official map back yet. So what I sent you was kind of a breakdown of the different zones in the proposal. The numbers work out right. The thing to keep in mind that needs to be out in the public for sure is it does not change any of our trustees, current or future, the one trustee elects. They are currently in the same zones and they will maintain that. So that is one thing that working with them, I want to make sure that we didn't, shuffle that up a bunch. So it looks like it's pretty balanced. It changes some of the zones, but it's something that we have to go through every time a census goes through, and everybody in the state is doing that. Even our state representatives are doing that, and our legislators. So anyway, that's proposed. We will have the official map back soon, I would think. They're creating that. But again, those are the pieces. If we piece those together, you can kind of see that.
So do we just need to table this? Any?
The proposed map, I talked to the engineer, ISBA, we're actually contracted with ISBA to do this, and then they have an engineer and that's working on it. Those proposals that you have, they have accepted. They're just making the new map. So we can go ahead and accept it.
No.
I would go ahead and accept those proposals, because they have said those balance out. We went through the numbers. I went through them with them as well, and the numbers all equal out. So those are the real deal. They're just not pretty.
Gotcha.
You took a lot out of my zone. Did you leave Pierce there?
Did you see what the old map was? Zone one was like 40%, 46% out of balance.
Yeah.
So, you got to be within 10%, and there was a big discrepancy there. So yeah, there were chunks that had to really be moved around. So they tried to make it as good as possible, as flow as good as possible too. So something we have to go through every 10 years.
Gotcha. Well, I guess we need a motion, don't we?
Mhm.
I'm going to move that we accept the zone updates for 2021, of which my zone took a big hit.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the trustee rezoning state required project. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. New hires and separations.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big list.
Yeah.
Adding some substitutes, which is good.
Coaches, a lot of coaches on there.
Well, it looks like a fair
That's
number of
good.
substitutes too.
Oh, yeah,
that-
that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the people here have full-time jobs, so I think
Yeah.
that's commendable that they're willing to say they
Absolutely.
take time off to substitute when needed.
And we got our
We-
cook at the elementary school too.
Mhm.
Yay.
We asked, and people are stepping up. So, yeah, it's great news. It sure has been busy though. Lots of people, lots of onboarding. I bet Jessica can attest to that.
Yes.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll move that we accept the new hires as listed.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the new hires as listed. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Dr. Garrett, did you have anything you needed to discuss during executive session? Has anything
have-
come up since last week?
Yes, I have one thing, but
Okay.
it doesn't need to be discussed. I just need to tell you, I guess. So I can call or whatever, because I know, are you guys going to go in executive or no?
We will. So what I'll
Okay.
do is we'll ask for board member input, and then that will be the end of our public business. There won't be any action items after our executive session. That way, if people feel like they want to end their meeting early, that would be perfectly acceptable. But we will keep the lines open, and then we will come out of executive session and adjourn the meeting. So we will, is there anything else the board members would like to have input for future agenda items for December? Okay, then I will need a motion to move into executive session.
I move that we go into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 742061, Section A and B.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to move into executive session, Idaho Code 74-2061 A and B. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we will need a roll call.
Yes. Trustee Robinson,
Yes?
trustee Drew,
Yes.
trustee Saint Germain,
Yes.
trustee Herbst,
Yes.
trustee Pomponio.
Okay, thank you, everybody. If you wanted to retire for the evening, thank you for participating tonight. Have a good night. Dr. Garrett, do you want to call?
Yes, I will.
So is it ready? Okay, then I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:50. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.